Hi, I'm Stephanie Cartwright, and I am going to be talking about ways to incorporate the different modalities into the classroom. I am an orchestra teacher, grades 4 through 8, so I'm going to be showing you different ways to incorporate it into the instrumental classroom. The first one I'm going to be talking about is sizing. Orchestra music sometimes is really small, and that can be hard for children to focus on. Or sometimes even the music is written, part A, part B, part C is all written at the same time, and that can be really confusing for kids. So Finale is a really great tool if you ever have to rewrite music, especially if it's too tiny or there's too much information on one page. So this is actually Finale Print Music. It's a cheaper alternative to the full program. And if you want to type something in, then you can actually make it larger by pressing the resize tool, and then you click over to the music, and then let's say you wanted to make it 150%, enter, and now that line is much larger. So that's a handy way to make certain notes stand. You can do it to just one note, you can do it to just one line, you can do it to the whole piece of music, so it's really a handy way to change your music for your students. The next one I'm going to talk about is pacing. So I use the method book Essential Elements 2000, and I'm actually using one from my home, which is a very old one, but the same message will get across. So for pacing, some kids, the book is going to teach you, okay, this is a D, this is a C sharp, this is a B, and you could essentially assign both of these pages that are just, giving certain repetition of these new notes. But it's actually a great way, because this method book does introduce certain techniques and then gives you lots of examples to practice. It's great for your advanced kids, but also for your kids who need you to go at a slower pace, because you can say, John, I want you to practice just number 25 and just number 26. But then someone in the same lesson group, you can say, I want you to practice all of page 10 and up to number 32. And then let's say someone's super advanced, you can give them both pages. And it's nice because they're still repeating, but they're gonna maybe learn something brand new the next day. And they can still be moving at the same pace week by week at their lessons, but they can be given more or less of an assignment. Next I'm going to move to color. So I took this example in this book that uses 3 of the strings. It uses the D string, the A string, and the E string. And what I did was I underlined each note and color coded it with whatever string it was on. String crossings can be really tricky for some kids, and so a color, a visual might help, especially if they're trying to read the music at the same time. So you can see, oops, wrong violin. You can see on this violin right here, I drew a dot under the E string, and a yellow dot under the A, and then a blue dot under the D string. And that's how I coordinated it with the music. And I mean, you could highlight the whole note, you could write the fingering in the color. I mean, it really would depend on the kid and how much information they needed. So that's one way that you could incorporate color. And then the last one that I wanted to touch on was our aural learners, our visual learners, and our kinesthetic learners. And going through our different modalities. So for string players, we want to make sure that they're pulling a straight bow. And so the way I describe that usually is making parallel lines with the bridge. And this is the bridge right here. So you want the bow and the bridge to make an equal sign. So there's several different ways I have to explain this to kids. I mean, you can draw a picture, and I kind of have one written right here where you can show the bow and the bridge and how they're making an equal sign. So that could be for your visual learners. You could even have an actual picture up on a screen. And then for maybe some of, you could demonstrate it too, right? That's visual. For some of our aural learners, you can describe, or you can play how you want it to sound, right? If we have a crooked bow, the tone is going to fade away. So they'll be able to hear what they're listening for when they pull a straight bow. And then for the kinesthetic learners who really need to try it out, I love the trick of practicing against a door frame. So you can find any kind of door frame that works best because you need a wall, you need more freedom with your bow arm. So if you have a door frame, you can have the child set their instrument up, you know, place the bow in the middle, and then kind of walk over to the door frame to make sure that their elbow is lightly touching the door frame. And then they can pull their bow or straighten out their arm, and the door frame is going to stop their arm from pulling behind. And if you want them to start moving lower in their bow, then they can move their elbow away from the wall. But then their elbow hits that wall, and that's going to help them continue to make that straight bow. So this is another way for them to try it out, and you can have each kid come up and give it a try up next to the door frame. So I hope these are some accommodations maybe you can make in your classroom one day. Thanks.